pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do.
Okay, so I'm going to report on some financials that I approved on October 29th, Resolution 15-153. There was a appropriation transfer in the care and custody fund of $152. And there were some vouchers for the sheriff's department that need to be processed and some payment deadlines of $25,099.03. So I approved those as per the authority granted to me by a motion that was passed by the board on December 30th of last year.
Okay.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of October 27th, 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
The financials today include revenue certifications for the Department of Job and Family Services, Public Assistance and Family First Funds, an appropriation transfer to return appropriations to the Sheriff's Office for expenses reimbursed and deposited into the general fund, cash transfer out of the general fund for the gas well allotment proceeds for the Board of ED for the period July through September of 2015, contract for Gilmore Security to replace and upgrade the fire alarm system at the Opera House in the amount of $37,522, and to install an access control system at the Department of Job and Family Services in the amount of $19,365. Travel request for the Commissioner's Office, Engineer's Office, and Department of Job and Family Services, and a payment to Portage Geauga Juvenile Detention Center for the fourth quarter 2015 in the amount of $147,793.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool? So you're up next.
So, Karen had to leave ill, and so I'm weighing in for her. Is that appropriate for me to do? I'll be voting also. Apparently, we have a very good employee that she's discovered, doing a great job. What was the, she brought some paperwork on that.
Yeah, I know, you can't read off of that, sorry.
In any case, she's asked for us to approve the appointment of that, or that, giving this person a raise. She's going from a probationary period to a normal period. No, that's
No.
not.
She's asking you to approve hiring Miss Shannon Humberson as a part-time attendant.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry.
Okay. If there's no questions, go ahead and read.
The county home is requesting the board approve hiring Shannon Humberson to the position of part-time attendant number 1504-1 to be effective November 10th, 2015, at a rate of $10.47 per hour. After the successful completion of a 1,000-hour probationary period, the rate will increase to $11.02 per hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye. I know what she's feeling. She walked in this morning. She's as pale as the wall, and she left. And Friday night I went out, came home, got sick, and didn't wake up until Sunday morning early. So it was like something's going around.
How are you?
Good morning.
This is on the other side of
Good
it.
morning.
We don't sign anything.
This one you do. This is, we're going to talk about 5 and 6.
Yep.
5 and 6 is the Canyon Lakes is transferring a mortgage deed, but we are holding for performance of completion of subdivision work. They were able to sell one parcel, so they transfer it into another parcel, so we still have our performance guaranteed. So that's basically 5 is the acceptance of sublot number 304 in place of sublot number 22, and item number 6 would be releasing sublot 22.
The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve, accept, and execute the mortgage deed for sublet number 304 in Canyon Lakes Colony subdivision number 13A, parcel 02421184, for the performance guarantee for sublet number 22, parcel 02421126 in the Edwards Landing subdivision, both located in Bainbridge Township. The county engineer's office is requesting the board approve and execute the mortgage release for sublet number 22, parcel 02421126 in the Edwards Landing subdivision in Bainbridge Township.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Thank you.
Take care of it. Hi, Dale.
Good morning, sir. Well, he's coming around. Well intended, but he's walking. He's apparently wants the exercise. Yeah, I didn't say you needed it, I said you wanted it.
I kind of condensed I did condense the grant down into this one-page summary. Basically, it says Geauga County intends to engage in various planning, training, administrative, and maintenance activities in connections with emergency planning and preparedness for the Perry Nuclear Power Plant, and development, maintenance, and effectuation of a plan for response to radiological emergencies at the Perry Nuclear Power Plant. And the sums for 2016 is $201,960 plus $9,000 towards capital improvements, which is for the update of the AC and heating system, which is 30 years old. And for the last 3 years, we've also had $27,000, which we've transferred at the maintenance department for the roof, for the driveway, and the rest is going towards the air conditioning and heating system. In 2017, the price is $205,819 plus the $9,000 towards capital improvements. Excuse me. The utility is going to provide communications links, the emergency discussion line, the five-way, all the JIC lines, portal monitors, and data from the plant so we can see what they're releasing out to the vents. The county is going to provide scheduling, preparation, and conduct of drills and exercises and training. We'll update the radiological emergency response plan and suggest operating guidelines. Participate in periodic tests of communication systems and the siren system. Make necessary copies of plans and submit to agencies. Equip, maintain, and operate emergency facilities and equipment, and participate in the biannual exercise objectives and other drills and activities. So that's kind of a summary of what's in the grant. Myself, Dave Blair, Heidi Delaney, and my staff sat down and negotiated the 2-year agreement with PNOC. I think it works out to what, 53 or 56% of the budget?
Around that.
So of the allowable expenses, certain things we can't have them pay for, such as the emergency purchase orders, and a couple other items, but what it basically works out to be is around 53, 56%.
I mean, it's a good partnership. We've had the First Energy, when the building was originally built, it was as a result of Perry plant going in, and their needing to have local responders with resources to help, and the partnership continues.
100% of the building was paid for by them. It was about $500,000 and $55. It's gone through several renovations. Of course, dispatch, we had this discussion at the night meeting. And they also paid for a major renovation about 10 years ago where they put the executive room, where the commissioners, of course, conduct operations. I think we spent $50,000 plus on that upgrade at no cost to the county. So we're just trying to make sure that the utility, makes sure that the county building is kept up. It's a 30-year-old building. So we're trying to save money on the general fund side.
The Department of Emergency Services is requesting the board approve and execute the grant agreement between the Board of County Commissioners and First Energy Nuclear Operating Company, PNOC, in connection to emergency planning and preparedness with Perry Nuclear Power Plant for the period January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2017, in the amount of $201,960 in 2016 and $205,819 in 2017, with an additional $9,000 per year to be used for the replacement of the heating and cooling system.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
And number 8 is now that we have a grant agreement, part of the requirement for the utilities to have a letter of agreement with the county, which outlines that you're basically saying we're the agency in charge of manning and preparedness for the county. And you need to put that in your plan. Now, other counties leave it open-ended where you don't have a termination date. I want to tie ours to the grant agreement. And that's why I'm only asking that you do a letter of agreement with them up until December 31st, 2017, which is the expiration date on the grant agreement. So it's not open-ended.
The Department of Emergency Services is requesting the board approve and execute a letter of agreement with Perry Nuclear Power Plant naming the Department of Emergency Services as the lead agency for incidents involving the Perry Nuclear Power Plant that will be in effect through December 31st, 2017.
I'll make that move.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
I have a quick question for you, President, to slip off the seat. I was having a conversation with First Energy last week, and there's some move to get rid of nuclear power plants. And have you heard anything about that? What would the impact be to our operations should that happen over, it probably won't happen in our terms, but.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty much of a wash on how much they make off of it. If they did decide to vacate Perry, there would still be a lot of nuclear material on site, which they store on site in suppression pools. So the plant would not go away for a period of time, but it would have I think it would have a major impact on Lake County's tax base. But
Well, if they're gonna do away with nuclear power plants, we've already got a group that wants to do away with coal. We're gonna use candles. I mean, I just, we have no source to
Frack
generate electricity. I
Natural
mean, we're gonna
gas.
use natural gas.
Natural gas.
I got a lot of
Well, then
chipmunks
we gotta
in the
frack
backyard.
a lot of wells, or we gotta drill wells and frack them, and then that'll go over like a lead balloon, and then we can't be using fossil fuel oil and so on. Apparently, the EPA and the environmentalists want us to live in caves.
Well, it was an interesting conversation here with the First Energy guy, because according to what he was telling me, that the trend is to move the power production, because we have the grids that move the power around the country, to move the power production outside of Ohio. Right now, Ohio is in pretty good shape, because we had a lot of our own power. We have coal-fired power plants along the Ohio River, we have the power plant up in Toledo, the one over here in Perry. And so we've been in pretty good shape, but now the trend is to shut all these down, and that's a little bit worrisome to me. And so I don't know whether you've heard anything about that, but also it will impact this operation significantly.
So this is the first I've heard of it, but I don't know, I thought they were going to start it, I thought a new one was coming on board, a new plant, a new generation of new plants was coming on board in the southern part of the United States. I know some of them have been shut down because of environmental concerns up in the Northeast.
Well, I mean, one of the issues is, like you said, they store radioactive material on site, because when they built Yucca Mountain, it was supposed to take all that, and then the environmental said, no, you spend all this money, but you can't actually use it. So everybody's gotta keep their nuclear waste right
Should
on
have
their
kept the
site.
reprocessing place open, and I think Carter shut that down, or one of the presidents shut it down, where they could take it and process it, and have the fuel to go back in the power plants. But
I thought that was two different technologies, fission and fusion or something.
yeah, it is, but
Yeah.
they were supposed to reprocess that stuff, and that went by the wayside, so all this stuff is sitting in suppression pools at power plants, and I don't know, they were gonna do some dry casting with some of it, but I'm not sure. Did you get a tour of the plant? Did they invite you up as a new commissioner?
I've never been through as a commissioner, but in my consulting career, I toured all the power plants, because I worked for First Energy for a while on a consulting deal.
This is the first I've heard of it, though. I'm sure you looked into it.
Well, he was mentioning, and what we had talked about was the fact that they're gonna be bringing gas online, but it takes a little while to get those plants up and running, but they will be outside of Ohio. And so, I don't know how much of that, I understood correctly and all that, but it was concerning to me is, if we're shutting these power plants down, and we have, you said, the nuclear facilities, which have a long-term impact. I mean, what are you gonna do with the product that was produced there? So, I didn't know if you'd heard anything about that.
No, this is news to me.
So, you might wanna talk to him. Maybe I misheard him, so.
Yeah, you can tell me who your contact was.
That was the guy who's our current the replacement for Doug.
Dave Dillon?
Dave Dillon.
Dave Dillon.
I'll talk to Dave.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello,
Good morning,
how are you?
Jenny. Good morning. So when it came in front of you this summer, the application for our victim assistance grant was approved, and so now in front of you to sign the acceptance award.
So it's, we're happy to announce that we got the grant again. It's, really vital to what we're doing in our office. Cindy has a lot of important roles, keeping victims apprised of the court process. We've had a number of challenging cases. We've had, unfortunately, several child rape cases which have required a lot of her attention. We've, got some murder cases that have resolved, some ongoing murder cases. So guiding the victims through the process, she's been wonderful at that. But also just, when we're doing trial prep and there's instances where, I have to meet with, a 10-year-old who's been victimized, I'm not really trained to do that. So, Cindy's there to help us, either myself or the other assistant prosecutors in those criminal prosecutions. Not only is she guiding the victims, but she's also there to help us with our interviews and our trial prep when we have to, unfortunately, sometimes get those folks ready to actually present our case. So, yeah, it's a very critical function. Plus, she started some new initiatives the past year that I think we'll build upon, that we're excited about and talk about more later. I think she mentioned it last week. So, just wanted to make sure if you had any questions about this.
Oh, very good.
Well, we talked about the sexual assault response team. I know
Right.
Commissioner Spiller invited the team back at some point. Give a presentation. We're just still in the beginning.
Sure.
When we have our feet under us a little bit
Yeah.
more, we'll come back and give a presentation.
Love
Robin
to.
Taylor from the Sheriff's Department, and I are the co-coordinators for that, so. we can talk to you guys about that more as well. Have our feet a little firmer on the ground.
Oh, it's a critical job there, yeah.
Okay.
No, I have no questions. Keep up the good work.
And I don't want you to live in a cave of flake. It's okay.
I'll try not to. Although with the headaches that I'm having, the one I got right now, I wish you'd turn the lights off, but that's all right.
The prosecutor's office is requesting the board approve and authorize the president and the board to execute the Victim of Crime Act Geauga 2015 through 2016 grant award and acceptance forms for the Geauga County Prosecutor Victim Witness Program Grant 2016 GOCO 198-12909 in the amount of $71,670, $67,200 federal VOCA funds, $16,800 local county match, and State Victim Advocacy Act SBAA Grant 2016 SBAA 198-12963 in the amount of $4,470 with no local match for the period October 1st, 2015 through September 30th, 2016.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier? Commissioner Clickwell?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Good sunshine.
Morning, Jerry. Good morning. How you doing? Good. So, good. Should be out in the woods today.
Work always gets in the
I
way,
know.
doesn't it? What was it today? I saw the other day they brought up, they went to Wisconsin, I call them snipe, woodcock night. Somebody I ran into here, one of our employees, I thought it was in the water resources.
Yeah,
but
it might have been one of our guys after.
They showed me, they had quite a haul, man, they had 10, 15 birds like that. So, I wish I would be up there with them. Go ahead.
The first item here is for our Russell Park wastewater treatment plant upgrades, some geotechnical work, amendment to the original engineering contract to add geotechnical work to that project to verify the groundwater levels as well as the structural stability of the surface or the underground for the building and that's gonna be built there with the builder before.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute service contract maintenance form number 2, increasing the contract with GPD Group to perform additional engineering to complete soil borings not covered in the original contract of the Russell Park wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $5,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
The next two items here are Hawksmoor Way sewer realignment project. The first is awarding the contract and signing the agreement with Platform to do the sewer realignment. And then the second one is accepting their performance bond and releasing the bid bond in the bid book for that project.
Number 11. Nothing for 12. The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and execute the contract agreement with Platform Cement Incorporated for the Hawksmoor Way sanitary sewer realignment in the amount of $99,700. The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board accept the performance bond from Platform Cement Incorporated for the Hawksmoor Way sanitary sewer realignment and further release the bid bond.
I'll make that motion. No, no,
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Good group of guys out of the water department. I was with them last week.
Yeah, they greatly appreciated you coming down and talking about it.
Some avid hunters. Good guys.
I don't know if any of them have gotten Glensier yet or not. After your discussion.
Give Glenn more to do, you know.
Like I'm on a graphic phone.
Our final item here is our
Phone book
annual
for you?
certification of the unpaid sewer and water fees from our customers. The good news, looking at it this year, we actually had, have 92 less accounts being certified this year than we did last year, and that's about $39,000 less than what we
Yeah,
did last
I was
year.
gonna
So-
say, yeah, 'cause I think it was almost 90 last year.
Yeah, that's a good,
Yeah.
a good trend that we've had. I mean, it's kind of been going that way for the last few years.
Good,
But, so it's, because the problem with the certification, I mean, we eventually get the money because we collect about, I think, talking to the auditors, about 98% of of what we certified gets collected, but it's 2 years down the road by the time we see that money, so it's not, we've already provided the service 2 years ago, and now we're finally getting the fees for that service.
Nice.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve the submission of the list of delinquent sewer user fees, water fees, tapped in installments, and subsequent certification to the Geauga County Auditor in accordance with ORC 6117.02 and the Geauga County Department of Water Resources Rules and Regulations, Section F.501, in the total amount of $421,226.19, $376,096.22 arrearage, and $45,129.37 penalty.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Hey,
good
thank
day.
you,
Bye,
Jerry.
Jerry.
You take care now.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board concur with Chester Township trustees in not requesting a hearing on a liquor license requested by RS1 Corporation doing business as Red Wine and Brew located at 8099 Mayfield Road, Chesterland, CNU 0252705-0010.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier? Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner's Office is requesting the board cancel session for Tuesday, December 8th, 2015 due to the CCAO Winter Conference in Columbus, Ohio.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Commissioner's Office is requesting.
Before we do that, I wanted to ask, I wanted to bring this up and see if I get other commissioners' support, at least to try to, I wish I would have thought about asking Jim Fleece to stick around. I wanted to see if there's conversation we could have. I want to look into putting forward plan for taxi service in this county for private taxis. My biggest concern is obviously I've got a lot of contact with a lot of the Amish, and I think that there's a big risk factor that's going on right now with some of the taxis that are transporting Amish, which I'm glad, Mike, you're here to listen to this too. But I've been approached by a number of the Amish elders that there's a lot of private taxi services, like basically you buy a beater car and you put you go and put a $5 ad in one of the local papers and say you're call yourself a taxi service. Well, at the end of the day, what is happening is that we are suscepting our residents of this county, the majority of it is Amish, to people that are basically influencing some of these individuals with drugs, and just having the knowledge that I have of some of these individuals, that they've got criminal backgrounds, that they can't, some of these people are non-employable other places, that have, potentially major felonies. A couple that I have actually, over the years, been able to just by public record, look up online to find out that there's been, child molesters, heavy felonies, drug-related offenses, of just, being able to just do a simple Google search of their names. And I think that at the end of the day, we owe it to, a big portion of what Geauga County is and has of the Amish population, which is probably the biggest group affected by this. Is I'm asking the support to at least request our prosecutor's office to explore what laws are available to us under the Ohio Revised Code. And it looks to me like everything that I saw online of doing my own research, and I'm not an attorney, so I'm just an amateur guy that's online doing searches for taxi services in Ohio Revised Code. Seems like everything is based on cities that do taxi regulation in the county for, like monopoly of prices, like prices and,
I mean, I think I
You
know
follow what
where
I'm
you're
saying?
I think I know where you're trying to go, and as a rule, I would be not in favor of something that was regulation that y'all gotta charge the same amount of money, or y'all gotta, like a rate like that, because that would kind of smack in the free
Yeah.
enterprise system. But I'm in 100% agreement with your concern as to the certification. Who's driving them? I mean,
They have
we have to have
insurance.
CDLs for our people.
come on up here, Mike, if you want
School
to.
buses have to.
I have a strong opinion on this, very strong.
Okay, well, if you're gonna argue
Well,
with
please,
us, then don't come up.
yeah, if you're coming, yeah, if you disagree with us, go home.
Yes.
No, I just, my biggest fear is that we just, and this isn't a monetary thing that I'm looking at for the county. I'm looking at this as strictly security, safety, and welfare for our people that are utilizing these.
The roadworthiness of the vehicle.
Right.
I mean, as you say, some of these vehicles have hundreds of thousands of miles, they pick them up used somewhere or so on. And some of the people aren't residents of our county, the proprietors. There's no, it seems like a certain amount of regulation as far as safetiness, roadworthy, the driver's backgrounds and so on. That seems to be, at least on the surface, in
And
my
we're doing that
opinion,
with our
past due.
drivers for the transit.
Yeah,
So, go ahead, Mike.
To a couple of your points, I know that in the past, I probably informally brought up that I thought that what the county's policy was, as far as what they call in our Amish taxi drivers. And I know that we have informally, again, discussed that my personal feeling is that they should be, based on my knowledge of the transportation industry, they should be held accountable to the same standards that my county employees are held accountable, which is to a 6 database background check. Do they have proof of insurance as a livery service? And that's a very big thing, because you're exactly right. Myself and Mr. Claypool could go down here and get a van and go down downtown Middlefield today and put up a sign, I'll take you out of here for $20. Now, they don't know if we have a criminal background. They don't know if I've been through a background check. They don't know if I could be a pedophile taking kids to school. They don't know if I'm selling drugs to these guys. You're exactly right. They don't know if I have insurance, if I have an accident. You always hear, well, the Amish don't sue or whatever like that. But the fact of the matter is that's a cost of service. That's a very expensive cost when you say insurance company, I have a livery service. Because then they're going to say, well, do you have a CDL maybe, or are you trained? I mean, I need a
And
CDL based
what's the
on
method to determine the roadworthiness of the vehicle itself?
That's a whole, like I said, we should be required to do a safety check of the car, with the vehicle, highway patrol does that kind of thing, fill out paperwork and forms that they're held accountable to someone in the county.
Some form of placard.
Yeah, that says that this vehicle has been looked at, that I do have insurance in case I get into a bad accident or something, and I've had a background check, so your kids aren't getting on the bus with a drug pusher or a pedophile or something like that. And I think what that helps do is level the playing field a little bit, as far as competition goes, and yes, as far as competition with Geauga County Transit, your public transit service. So, I mean, I can
Yeah,
let
if
it
you
out,
have-
undercut everybody and say, I'll be here at any time you want, and hop in my van and we go. And that's,
I mean, these people, and I don't want to incur their wrath, but that are doing this, they have little, if any, restriction they have to meet other than license plate on their vehicle probably, and I'm not sure, I'm sure there's a lot of cash industry there. The downside is that when we put all these regulations in, then, I hate to use the word legitimate, but if they're in compliance with all these regulations and so on, then their rate is gonna go up, and so be it. I mean, that's just a function of what it is, which the end user is gonna pay, but only to a point where they would use us with all the insurance, anyway, they would call us when we meet all those
we have to meet all those
criteria, right. They may or may not meet them, I don't wanna say they don't meet them, they may or may not meet them, they surely don't have to prove it. And so they may, if it costs them more money, they're gonna have to charge more, like fuel. like
But I
anything.
think that the consensus that I've gotten is that even if they had to pay more to know the small price to pay for security
Yeah.
and safety, I don't think that that's the question, and I think that there's enough legitimate style drivers that wanna do the right thing that are out there,
Mhm.
that they would be willing to follow some form of compliance of regulation, you know, and I hate to say regulation because this is not a matter of control, it's a matter of safety and security. And there's a lot of drivers that would probably fill this room to say, you know, we don't like what we're seeing either, because what is happening is it's almost like, you know, the eagle has landed to be able to put their claws into a group of people, not only to influence them and be able to get money off of the fares, but now, what else can we expose these people to? And I just think that you run a great operation, and you maintain, you know, your vehicles, you maintain your employees, we have insurance, we have all the things that we have to do. The other scenario, and you and I have talked about this, is the possibility that we can possibly create a small route system in that area because of the fact that they're not like you and I get in our vehicle in the morning and turn the key on and drive. They don't have that luxury. And to be quite honest with you, I think to protect Geauga County and what we all love Geauga County for, I think that it's critical for us to also support, to keep that group of people in this county, because I think the agriculture and just the whole, what the natural, natural position of what Geauga County that I love about it is kept with the Amish tradition. And if we could support them to assist them possibly with the transportation of some simple routes or something that we could do, it scares me every time, I see some of the drivers in my business, what is, driving people, the characteristics that they carry, personal information that is being relayed to me. But I think it's at the point that says, I don't like to be reactive, I would rather be proactive. And ask that we at least talk with the prosecutor's office to see what regulation is possibly there that we could require something.
We may, I've just been doing a little internet searching here, we may need to be talking to our state senator, state representatives, because it doesn't appear there's a statewide law.
That's what I was.
When you're in a city, when you're a municipality or a village in Middlefield, they can do it,
They
but
can do it.
outside, and that's an issue.
And that's what I'm thinking of, is the proximity, the location of the Amish, the bulk of their population is right along the eastern edge of Geauga County.
Right.
So we could impose some kind of restrictions here in Geauga County that you reside here, you do this, that, or the other thing. And people are coming across from Trumbull and Ashtabula, and they may be again, I hate to use the word regulated, but uncertified, whatever the word is, and maybe,
But it's like what the city of Cleveland does is they have it so that if you're going to do commerce in the city of Cleveland as a taxi service, Cleveland takes it to a whole different direction. And believe it or not, Cleveland is on the low echelon of those taxes and of those services, but Dayton, Cincinnati, Columbus, those are the ones that are really, have like masterful plans and that are actually really making money on this deal. City of Cleveland is more as far as saying, if you live in Trumbull County and you want to go into Cleveland, you have to comply with Cleveland's taxi requirements in order to serve in Cleveland. So you could live wherever. They're not saying you have to live in Cleveland, but if you're going to do those services and pickups here in this county, or in the city, you have to comply with our regulation and our requirements.
personally, I think it's a great idea to look into. I don't even begin to pretend that I have the answers, but I think if we talk to the prosecutor, we talk to the sheriff's department, see what kind of
Background checks.
background and what input they have. Have there been a rash of incidents that have been reported to them? I'm not saying that didn't happen.
Right.
And it might be something to talk to our state reps about.
See, there was a House bill, this is something I'm looking at online from July. There's a House Bill 237, which imposes rules on transportation network companies, and it's mainly about the Uber and Lyft, the ride-sharing companies. But this one rep, Mike Duffy, is quoted as saying, "Interesting thing is, there is no such thing as state taxi cab regulations in the state of Ohio. Is therefore for something that is analogous to this, which is different. It's a new technology, transportation network companies. We don't really have a code section for them, so they're essentially unregulated right now in the state of Ohio, except for the local municipal level." So it may be something where we need our state rep, our state senators to come up with some kind of, recognizing the valid concerns being raised here, there should be something that covers and ensures that no matter where they operate, there's a basic level.
Holmes County, Tuscaroras,
Yeah.
there's a number, the major Amish population center in Ohio is south of us here, but it's in a 3 or 4 county area, around that area. So it's not just a little regionalized problem here, it's elsewhere. I would think that somebody might want to entertain a conversation about
Yeah.
this, that's, maybe a little further up the pecking order than.
Yeah, I mean,
than us,
I wanna try to start dialogue to get this figured out, because I just think that there's some major risks if we don't try to grab the bull by the horns and be able to figure out some kind of a strategy to try to give some kind of a fail-safe with. You know, nothing is 100%, but, you know, if there's the risk, if there's the position of deterring, you know, some sleazeball from doing this, then I think we've succeeded a big, you know, a big part.
Not to bring up a sad point, but don't you have to be licensed to be a charter fisherman?
Yeah.
Not to rub salt in the wound. From your experience, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I got a rowboat, so I'm gonna take 3 of you out to 2 miles or 4 miles out in the lake, and next thing you know, we don't all come back, or something like that, I think.
No, I'm with
It's the
you.
same basic,
Yeah, there should be basic standards for this.
Skip, what's your position on it?
Let me weigh in as I've been listening to all this, and let me say, first of all, I had personal experience with the Amish in this situation, and I've always felt concerned about the decisions that they've made, and they have decisions to jump on the transit. I've actually asked, and I won't go into the personal situation I have with the Amish community, but I've often asked, how come you're not riding the transit? Because they don't like it. They don't like the inconvenience, they don't like the cost, they like the independence of being able to hire it. And by the way, these are adults who are making a free choice. And so if you talk to the taxi, or those folks who are running the taxi services in these large companies, and I do that often when I'm traveling, they refer to them as the city mafia because of the constraints that they put on it. If you look at the constraints that Cleveland puts on its taxi service, I would never be a taxi driver in that service. Go to the airport, get a taxi service. They are strictly, that is pure communism in downtown Cleveland. And yes, I don't care whether I've said that or not, because the constraints that they put on them is pure government control. And I would hate to think that we would go to something like that in Geauga County. I don't think that's what Ralph is suggesting.
No.
I think what we're suggesting is looking at existing laws that they exist to see if there's not some layer of common sense and reason that we can go to, because I am also very concerned because of the types of people that oftentimes provide these taxi services for the Amish community, and why they, and in some cases they're good people, in some cases, most cases, often they're not. And so, I mean, it's a really good question, it's a good conversation to start up, and to see where it might all go, but also, I would not want to go to where Cleveland is, or where Philadelphia is, or, you know, that level of government oversight is not something I would buy into, I would fight tooth and nail against. Mike and I have had many conversations. I'm not real comfortable with the transit model that we're currently operating under. I think we can provide a different model, maybe an Uber model or something, using vouchers and a private taxi service, you know, something different that would make better utilization of our tax dollars and make it more amenable for our Amish community, make them want to do it. You know, so I don't know. I think it's a great conversation. I think it's something that we ought to, you know,
Well, with
work our way through.
With the
But at the
board's
end of the day,
permission,
people-
I'll contact the prosecutor's office and just see what if anything can be done under existing law. If it looks like it's gonna take, you know, maybe some action at the state level to come up with some kind of basic set of protection for consumers, that'd be something you might want to.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that, because I think between the 3 of us, we're pretty deficient on the actual, you can do this, you can't do that, you could do this, you can't do that. I'm gonna guess there's some laws and regulations that I think are ridiculous, but they didn't ask me. So I think that Ralph brings up a very good point. I think it needs to be explored and looked at. But to sit here and come up with any kind of a, we should do this or we should do that, is I think premature, in my opinion, until we talk to somebody in that business like you or somebody.
One of the easy solutions to this would be able to provide, anybody who wants to provide that kind of service simply has to fill out a background check and let those who are making free choice to use these folks, at least know what their background check. Give them a way to go and do a background check on the individuals that they're, the Amish community is a unique community and a very valuable community here in Geauga County. Oftentimes they don't, at least my perception is, that they don't understand the opportunity they have to be able to take ownership of their situation. This is a good example. And I don't even know how you would do a background check on somebody, but giving them simply that tool, but that's not gonna be a panacea. There are bad people who do bad things, unfortunately,
Well,
and they do have free choice, so.
Yeah, that's the thing, right there. We could, a lot of good people could devise all these safeguards and so on and so forth, and the end user, the person that needs the ride, could call his neighbor or anybody else he knows and say, hey, Bill, can you take me up to downtown Middlefield or something like that? And he gets in the truck and goes with the guy or something, you know. It's like, I don't know, that's of their free will. As an industry, or a common group, they probably need some serious looking at.
Ralph, let me ask you this question. You probably have as much interaction with the Amish community because you have a lot of employees in your stores and stuff. What is their feedback on this? What do they think?
Well, I think that there's a big concern. There's a big concern because, the Amish population continues to grow. The amount of weddings in Geauga County continue to increase. Every year there's more weddings, there's more children, there's more. So what happens is, like in anything else, the more people there are, the more demand there is, and the services sometimes fall short. So what happens is now you've got a family that has, children that are finally at an age where now all of them need a ride to get somewhere, and there's only so many drivers to do this. Well, what has happened is now, and here's the other problem, is that as you've seen the growth of homes, okay, there's so many homes and there's so many new homes being built, so that area becomes more dense, more services needed. Well, what happens is there was only so many, so many drivers for so many people, so all of a sudden it becomes a situation that somebody wants to zero in on the opportunity, and it creates, an opportunity for a driver to come in. Well, what's happened is that now drivers are not as readily available like, say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, that you could pick up the phone and basically say, hey, I need a ride here, and go. The other problem that you hear from a lot of them are that some of the drivers were, was a situation where somebody retires and they just want to do this just part-time and they stick to it. A lot of those people have died, have a lot of the old-time drivers, and I can tell you, just being in the Middlefield business for 16 years, I've had a lot of them that I've known that were real good people that just had everyday jobs and they wanted just something to be able to do more than an income. Well, those jobs, a lot of those people have they retired at 65, they're now 80, they can't drive anymore, or they've passed away. So it's this whole new influx of people that are taking over that whole service industry. And the situation is that the word that I get from the Amish is that word now has gotten that this is an easy dollar, it's an easy target, it's an easy opportunity for somebody to come in and be able to just easily insert themselves into this. And at the end of the day, there's been situations, and the Amish are very private people, and I respect that about them, and sometimes they may not do the best job of reporting incidences because they just can keep it within their own confidentiality of their own community, and sometimes crimes possibly occur, situations happen, and they don't report stuff. And then there's a problem.
The other thing, I think there's a group forming up, maybe it's in Kentucky or something like that. But right now, there's really 4 large Amish populations. There's Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Lancaster County. There's Holmes County. There's Shipshewana, Indiana. and there's Geauga County Middlefield area. I believe those are the four, certainly in the Midwest, they're the four biggest. It might be an interesting exercise to contact somebody from these other localities and say, what are you doing? You know, hey, what do you got going on over there? Is this a problem, or I mean, I have been to all four of those Amish communities, and they all have one thing in common: horse and buggies. I gotta tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh, and the dress is pretty close too. The outfit is pretty close, but I'm sure there's people in Shipshewana, Indiana that need a ride to the doctor, or they need a ride somewhere that their buggy's not necessarily going to take them.
Right.
And
I can contact my counterparts in Ohio, those transit companies, those areas, and see it. I do know that at meetings I've been, there's been talk about Amish taxis and how they impact the local business, as far as the transportation business. That's what those counties. I'll find out if they have any
yeah, I mean, it might.
regulations or something. But I would like to say one thing to address Skip's point. I don't, when you talk about free choice and free enterprise, I don't think that, like Blake alluded to, this isn't something that we do, talking about rates, or you have to match rates or anything. This is just something that give people peace of mind. I think any reasonable person is going to understand that having insurance, which is the law, I believe, if you have a livery service, and having like we run even a 6 database background check through the offenders, through the child offenders, through the drug thing. I think that's probably a pretty basic thing that's really not impacting, I don't think, free enterprise. Unlike, like you say, Cleveland and some of those other schools, they're like Ace Taxi, and they're under all kinds of different.
Oh, that's over the top. I mean,
It's
I've
kind of
talked
very-
to some of the
it very
taxi drivers
diminishes
there.
your want to even have the business.
Right.
But out here, we're lucky, we don't have that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, to address these folks, you know, I mean, I think that's not even something for service, that's just something for, like,
But
a
the-
security regulation. not
The thing that I'm
necessarily
curious about, I'd love to sit down and talk to the community, the Amish community.
Yeah.
Not just one or two individuals, but, you know, get a church together, whatever the case happens to be. And have kind of, because a lot of this is at their control. I mean, they can fix this problem if they felt that it was a big enough problem. Because they can get together and say, hey, look, we're gonna have our own standards, we're gonna hire Amish taxis, then these are the things that we'd like to have, and then they can come to us, folks like us, to help determine how the government might help them in terms of doing background checks and all the things, of making sure that they have insurance certification and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I don't wanna,
And I guess, I mean, I agree with that, Skip, to be honest with you. I get a little bit tired of hearing that constant meeting stuff, you know, like to meet this guy and meet this guy. I think at the end of the day, they've come to me. I mean, they've come to me and, you know, and addressed these concerns. That's why I'm bringing it up to you guys, is that, I mean, you know, we could meet and we could, you know, roll our hands and wonder, but I don't like doing that too much. It's like, you know, we need to just look into what our options are, as long as you guys are in support of it. And I mean, we could fill the room up with Amish, and I'm gonna tell you, everybody's gonna have the same concern, safety. You know, we're living in a crazy world, and there's a lot of wackos out there, and they get scared for their kids, and I'm scared for their kids, and I'm scared for them going out there with these people.
We have expenses. You know, I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not to say because I don't know enough about the prosecutor and the children that were here. I know there have been some assaults and some cases that have involved Amish that, guess what? We're paying. We're
Yeah.
paying the prosecutor, we're paying police, we're paying, I mean, it's not as though they exist in a parallel universe. They're here, and when there's a problem, they're
It's our problem.
rightfully entitled to the services that we provide as a county.
Yeah.
And so there is some expense, how much, I sure say, you know, I have to get somebody, Price Waterhouse are here to figure it out. and channel out what the expense is, but I know it's costing us money for things that, and you say they are very private. I know there were some assault cases and so on that were out there somewhere, I don't know any of the details. So, you know, an ounce of prevention could be worth a pound of cure in this case.
Oh, yeah.
What you're saying is, you know, let's find out what the
Yeah,
other,
let's
you
find
can
out.
call the transit directors in other counties, you.
And I can look at the other states, to just see what, is there state law in
There might be
Indiana or
somebody that we
Pennsylvania
can contact
that
and
allows
say,
a county to have some hand.
and they're
maybe,
liable to say.
Mike, you know, if you wanted to try to kind of, you know, take a leadership role in this too, to try to maybe develop a test, you know? Maybe a test of some kind of a, you know, a route or something, that, you know, that possibly would be able to serve, you know, I don't want the RTA, but you know,
God help us.
you know, I'm just saying something that
They had too many rules, yeah.
could be, you know, we have the beauty of having a great transit department, and who knows where it could go.
It's
But
just
you
out back,
know
there's a
better
bus.
You know better
There's
than me.
There's a bus right out back here. I was on it yesterday that you got on the auction.
Right.
And I would say that bus, I stepped up, I walked in there, Glenn was there, he opened the door, I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, we're getting rid of it. And it's a whole lot better than what I see out on the road out there, all of these people around, you know, these
Oh, yeah.
families around, I'm thinking, you know, that looked like an income opportunity, if you wanted to.
Could be, for the right person.
Rear bus service.
bus
Probably,
service.
probably not me,
You
but.
have the maintenance facilities in your,
No, I don't
your,
have the,
family compound,
You
I
know,
think.
one of the things that I've been sensitized to, and I wanna make sure, I mean, when I suggest a meeting, it's not a matter of wrestling hands but I have been cautioned a number of times about Yankees making a solution for the Amish community. And this has been coming from the Amish community, you know? So the last thing we wanna do is for us, in a vacuum, to create a solution. And Ralph, you may be closer to the Amish community, so you would understand it. I can't sit here and say I do understand it completely. I have some Amish people that work for me periodically, and I'm connected to the Amish community and talk to them. I have friends out in the Amish community. But I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert and I can speak for them. And so the only way to know exactly what they're thinking is to get them on board and say, what are you thinking? And so I would not want to propose some sort of solution that they wouldn't either connect with, because it won't work, it'll fail. Unless we-
I agree with Skip in this sense that we have to offer it to the bishops or
Sure.
or something and say, hey, we're interested in exploring this, doing something like this and so on, but since none of us, I don't wanna get myself in trouble here, but I went through leadership Geauga 10 years ago, I believe with the first Amish man that was in leadership, Sawmill Joe.
Mhm.
Yeah, and got a little bit of the knowledge of what it is, and I'm sure I'm gonna insult them, but it's like, I need a rule book. You know, I need a rule book, because this sect, Amish sect under this bishop can do this, and then across the street, it's a different Amish church under a different bishop, and they have some nuances in what they're allowed to do and not do, and I'm just sitting there going, as long as they have it all figured out, that's okay. But I don't
I'll
understand.
give you a perfect example. I was out campaigning in the Amish community, and I spoke to a large group of people. They had one of their fundraising functions. I was invited to go speak. I spoke. The women got together here. We're talking about whatever they're talking about. The guys were over here talking about whatever they were talking about. My perception was that the women weren't involved in the political process. So I'm talking to the men. I'm handing out literature to the men. And one of the lady comes over to me and says, Skip, we vote too. You better come over and talk to us. I didn't know. I said, thank you for the invitation.
You
So,
work with them,
know.
you know more about that, but I'm out there dealing with a guy, and he has a phone booth in his yard. Why do you have a phone booth in your, because it's not my house, I'm allowed to have a phone booth because I have this business. guy across the street isn't allowed to have phone. He said, well, yeah, that's a different
different
order. And I was told, and I could be wrong, that when a church reaches like 50 families, that's the number I was told, when they reach 50 families, that they split into 2 orders, 25 apiece, and then they grow. You know, so they don't have an order that has 200 families in it or something. Now, whether that's true or not, that's what I was told when I was in leadership. And like I said, I find their culture fascinating, but I also know that there's so many nuances among in their culture that I'd sure like to. Before we do all these push-ups, I would surely like to make an offer to them, the leaders.
Well, I think I mean, just underline, it's a great conversation. I'm glad we got it started. So let's start digging into it
Yeah.
and find out where we can go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some way we can help.
I think we ought to.
I don't wanna take
I'll take the
control
lead
over it.
too on, if you want, a meeting with, I think, to address what Skip talks about, which is, you know, we don't want to have a Yankee solution because they won't buy in at all. We have to have a buy-in, and to yours about, we can't have tons of meetings with hundreds of people because you're going to get 100 different opinions. And to what you're talking about, why don't we, and I would gladly do that, commit to meeting with these folks, the elders, or who you guys have identified, you know them better than I do, of what their concerns are as far as safety, as far as travel, and what they think the solutions are, and how those solutions can fit into what, in this case, what Geauga County Transit can do.
Uber.
Exactly. And it could be, and if they want to, and their concerns about the Amish taxis, and what they would like to see, if they'd like to see anything about it, what we can do about that.
Well, I
That way
mean-
you'd address directly their concerns from them, and then when you get their feedback from them, it's, this is what you'd like to do, this is what we can do, what do you think? And when they decide, then you'll get the buy-in, and then you'll have satisfied these church elders.
Who's got the
Maybe
best
probably
fully
somewhere in
automated
between.
car out there today?
It's probably somewhere
Fully
in between.
automated car?
Yeah.
Tesla, I think.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
Yeah,
Tesla's.
Tesla.
Fully automated cars.
Tesla?
Just to add,
Yeah, full automated.
being that my husband does work at Middlefield, at Wilkie, he works with a lot of them. And there is a lot of times that their drivers won't show up, or they have to work over, they're unreliable. And there's a lot of times that they'll come up to him and say, hey, can you take him home? They're not in here, he's driving out of county to take them home. Because a lot of them that have grown up and now have kids of their own are looking to build that farm to expand the family. So there's no property that they're having trouble finding it here, so now they're moving out of county. So, and they're working second, they're working third shift, so it's not just a daytime, driver issue. You're looking at second and third shifts, and a lot of companies now are contracting with these taxi services so that if they need a ride, then they have that option to call them, but at the same time, then they're getting paid by the company, but the driver also has to, the customer has to pay the driver at that point, and then they submit a bill to the company. It's, yeah.
I would
there's
think that if a
lot
company,
of-
if I owned a company and I was contracting with 3 or 4 taxi drivers, I'm pretty sure that I would have some kind of minimum standards that they had to meet, because if there's an accident, then maybe some of their family will own my company. I would, I'd be having conversations with an attorney
And
as to
maybe-
what are my
and
liability.
Maybe that's where the county can have a role, that through Mike and Transit, you establish some best practices, and you try to get buy-in from the reputable taxi operators, that, yeah, we'll adhere to these best practices, and then consumers can exercise their free will. If they wanna go with someone who's compliant and follows these practices, maybe you pay a little more, but you have peace of mind.
See, in the county, I don't think we even have the latitude to create regulation to control
No,
any of this.
I don't think we
So, I
do,
mean,
but
we can
we'll
set
check
some
into that.
standards, but we don't have the authority to create rules and
No.
regulations. We can certainly provide guidance, we can educate, we can ask John and Sarah at the state level to contemplate certain rules and regulations, but I don't think we have the authority.
I don't
We have
think
limited
we do
things that
either
we
right
can
now.
do, so.
Right.
But maybe
From
we
a
could
legal
help some of the townships and the villages to give them some help too. If they-
Well, the
if
village
it's all
is
of
fine.
our-
Greenfield
township-
Village,
the
with
townships-
their
Yeah,
municipality,
the
so they
townships
probably
can't
have
do it.
some,
They're tied like
they
we
probably
are.
have some mechanism because of the municipality
They
that they're
can.
allowed to do it like a city
They
would.
can.
Uh,
But a township
But
is just like
if we
us.
created a best practice document that said, hey, look, guys, I mean, you have free choice. You get into a car, you have free will to do that. Nobody's forcing you into a car. But here's the things you ought to be able to, here's some tools, here's some places in the county you can go to help do a background check on somebody. Because if you look at some of the drivers, granted, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't get in the car with some of those guys.
At the very least, if there's a way to provide a program that reputable people will submit to, and then we give them a placard or whatever, so that the consumer can't twist the consumer's arm, but he knows that when he calls whoever, and they show up and they have this
We do it
placard.
for the
just-
septic system.
Right,
The health
yeah.
department has a preferred vendor that they license in this county to be able to install septics. So, at the end of the day, when you here's the list that we have certified, and we recertify that, how often, and I don't know how often you do it, but at the end of the day, here's what it is.
Yeah.
And here's our certified list
Yeah.
of who we say are good drivers. And I mean.
And the transit could help to create that.
And then the rest is let the
They can do basic
customer,
vehicle
let the
inspection,
consumer
we've got
beware.
credentials,
If,
That's it.
if we
insurance certificates.
provide them with
Uber.
with something that meets this
Yep.
criteria,
Show me that.
and then the end user chooses to use the guy down the street who
That's it.
didn't submit to the criteria, well, it's America, it's a free country, you can do
Right.
what you want, we're not.
Right, I mean, I don't want anything about control. I
Right.
want, my whole position is safety and security.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's valid.
Yeah.
I also think we have one more agenda on the item, or item on the agenda, I'll say it right. Man, I got a headache.
Yeah, we have an executive session.
Yeah.
Before we go into executive session, let me say, how many of you know about Green Light Veterans? Green Light Veterans. Okay, next week is Veterans Day on Wednesday. There's an effort being made, and I wanted to bring this up just as an awareness. I was hoping there'd be more people in the room. But Walmart is actually working with the veterans of the United States, the Veterans Organization, to create a thing called Green Light Veterans. And it's where everybody recognizes the importance of veterans and how much value they brought to the country and so forth and so on. And the way of recognizing that is to put a green light out in front of your home, establishment, business, whatever the case is, as a signal that you support your veterans. And so Walmart is they've taken a lead role in that. And so just go look that up. Go Google Green Light Veterans. And I'm gonna bring that up next Tuesday in the meeting as a way to reinforce how important our veterans are. All right, can we go into executive session?
Read number 16.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board move into executive session for the purpose of discussing the discipline of a public employee in the transit department.
Make that motion.
Will there be action?
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler? Commissioner Claypool?
It'd be Director Mike Casper and myself coming, so, sorry. Okay.
What's the record show? Time?
10:27.
Closing up.
The Transit Department is requesting the Board accept the disciplinary recommendation of the hearing officer Karen DeCola and to suspend without pay Paul Ovar, full-time transit driver in the Transit Department for 4 hours for violation of Transit Policy Manuals, pages 9 and 10, Best Practices, Preventable Accidents, Level 2, and further approve and execute the order of removal, reduction, suspension, involuntary disciplinary separation form per ORC 124.34 for the 4 hours.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye.
Commissioner Claypool?
Recorder has started, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Mike.
I moved that we adjourn, or did somebody do
Sorry.
that already?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, you just moved. You didn't move to adjourn, you just moved.
So, second that.
Okay.
Hey, Skip, Thank you for doing that. The